Hey everyone, welcome! Today we're jumping into a super useful concept in Spanish, reflexive verbs. I like to call them the selfie verbs of the language, because they're all about actions you do to yourself. And trust me, it's way easier than it sounds. By the end of this, you'll be describing your daily routine like you've been doing it for years.
So, to get our brains warmed up, let's start with a little puzzle. What's actually the difference between saying I wash the car and I wash my hands in Spanish? I mean, they seem pretty similar, right? Well, the answer to this question basically unlocks the entire secret of reflexive verbs, so stick with me and we'll figure it out together.
So, what are these things anyway? Well, here's a super simple trick to help you spot one. I call it the mirror test. Just imagine you're looking in a mirror. If you can do the action to your own reflection, it's probably a reflexive verb. Okay, so here's the core idea. With a reflexive verb, the person doing the action is also the person receiving the action. The action literally reflects back on you. Think about it. When you wash your hands, you are doing the washing, and your hands are being washed. It's all happening to you. That's totally different from washing the car, where you're doing the action, but the car is receiving it. See the difference? So how can you spot one of these reflexive verbs out in the wild? Well, you're going to look for this one giant clue. The letters se tacked on to the end of the verb. That little se is basically a flag that says oneself. So lavar means to wash, but lavarse means to wash oneself. Easy, right? For instance, check out these examples. You've got ducharse, which is to shower oneself, or bañarse, to bathe oneself. In Spanish, you don't just bathe, you bathe yourself. You'll see these all the time when you talk about your daily routine. Okay, so we know how to spot them. But to actually use a reflexive verb in a sentence, that little say at the end has to change. And that's where our special toolkit comes in, the reflexive pronouns. This chart right here, this is your new best friend. That say we were just talking about, it transforms into one of these little words, depending on who's doing the action. So if I, yo, am doing something to myself, I use me. If you, thu, are doing it, you use te. Think of them as a team. The subject and the reflexive pronoun are a package deal. They always have to match. All right, enough with the charts and rules for a second. The absolute best way to make this stuff stick is to see it in action. So let's apply this to something we all do every single day, our daily routine. Let's put all the pieces together. We're going to walk through 3 key moments of any typical day: waking up, getting dressed, and finally going to bed. First up, waking up, with the verb despertarse. Now, quick heads up. This verb has a little quirk. It's a stem-changing verb, which means that E in the middle often changes to IE, but don't worry about that too much for now. Let's just focus on the reflexive part. And here it is, the golden rule. Take a look at the structure. The reflexive pronoun, the me, the te, comes right before the main verb. This is so important. So to say I wake up, it's not yo despierto me. No way. It's yo me despierto. Pronoun first, then the verb. That's the key. Next up, let's talk about getting dressed with the verb vestirse. This one's also a bit of a stem changer, but guess what? The reflexive rule is exactly the same. Let's see how it works. Here we go, a perfect real-world example. You get dressed for school. Look at that pattern. You have the subject, du, its matching pronoun, de, and the verb vistes. It's a clean, simple formula. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. And to finish off our day, we have acostarse, which means to go to bed, or literally to lay oneself down. And yep, you guessed it, it's our last stem changer for today. Let's just look at a couple more forms to really nail it down. For we, it becomes nos acostamos. For they, it's se acuestan. You see how consistent that pattern is? Once you get this structure down, you've honestly mastered the hardest part. Okay, so you've got the basics. Now let's level up and make our sentences a little more sophisticated. What if you want to connect 2 different actions? We can do that with 2 simple phrases. Before, which is antes de, and after, después de. So let's take 2 common actions, getting dressed and taking a bath or shower. How would we link them to describe our morning routine in the right order? Let me ask you, which one do you do first? Do you get dressed before you shower or after? I hope it's after. Now, think about how you'd build that sentence in Spanish. And here is how it works. Yo me visto después de bañarme. Now, pay close attention, because this is a pro tip. The first verb, visto, is conjugated like normal. But the second verb, the one after después de, stays in its original infinitive form. And that little reflexive pronoun me just gets glued right onto the end. That's the secret for linking these actions. All right, you have seen the rules, you've seen the pronouns, you've seen the sentence structure, the whole shebang. Now it's time to put all this amazing knowledge to work and actually describe your own day.
And to help you get started, here is a fantastic list of some of the most common reflexive verbs for daily routines. Just think of this as your vocabulary starter pack for talking about your day. So I will leave you with this final question. What's your typical schedule? Pick one of the verbs from that list and try to make a sentence about your own life. Do you wake up early? Yo me despierto temprano. Do you shave? Yo me afeito. Seriously, the absolute best way to make this all stick is to start talking about yourself. Go on, give it a try.